Welcome to the Troy Curtis Podcast. We talk all things real estate, business, and entrepreneurship. Today, I've got a very special person, Jason Griggs, out of Las Vegas, Nevada, and actually now invested in Kansas City. And I'm detecting some sort of an East Coast accent somewhere in there.
Yes, sir.
Where are you originally from?
I'm from Long Island, New York.
You know, my wife is from Long Island.
Where? What town?
Glen Cove.
Oh, yeah. I'm from Belmore.
Oh, okay. I don't know where that is, but
it's close. It's close enough.
Is it? Yeah. No, yeah. We go out there. In fact, we're going out there June 20th because we're flying back from Europe, and we're gonna stop in New York, and then we always go out there. I love it. I love Long Island. It reminds me of where I'm from in Washington State.
It's a cool place. Not a good place to do real estate. Good food though.
Yeah, so we're both in real estate. So you are an agent in Las Vegas, you're an investor in Kansas City, and you're doing Airbnb in Kansas City. Jason, take me through like where you're at right now and how you got there.
So I was a teacher, Troy, when I first moved to Vegas, kindergarten teacher, hated it. And I started coaching lacrosse out here. I'm a big lacrosse guy, and I got hooked into the network of these parents coaching this program, and I got an opportunity to dive into real estate. One of the parents was like, I think you would be good at it. And I started telling my friends and family back in New York I was going to do this. And so I bought my own house here in Henderson, and the prices were so cheap here in Vegas and Henderson. And I just started buying rental properties. And I never sold them. And I just fell into this niche of buying rental real estate. And it's been a home run ever since 2016. Okay. So what part of Henderson? All over Henderson. I'm like the Henderson guru.
Okay. So you mentioned right before we got on here, you're a huge Airbnb guy.
Yes. Short-term rental guy. Yep.
So it's funny because we had our first Airbnb, I would say probably like before it really got going. I don't know when Airbnb launched, I think like 2013, but we were in 2016, we had one in New Orleans. And then knowing that Vegas was going to be super difficult to get it done. And then Henderson opened up in 2020 or 19?
Yep. You nailed it. 2020, right before COVID.
So how has that been?
It's been a challenge, but so like in Kansas City, there's no rules, but in Henderson, it's right. And I just found that out the hard way on one of my properties there. But in Henderson, the rules are pretty fair, but you got to oblige by them. And I think Henderson's the best rental market for short-term rentals in the whole country.
Really?
We do big numbers. Yeah.
Like tell me, okay. So New Orleans, to give you an example, like, I thought New Orleans was the craziest. In New Orleans, we had a property, and we were getting. Actually, I had several Airbnbs. I still have a couple of them. We've got a couple shut down for not operating with permits. The companies that are affiliated with me, not mine. We were getting between $600 and $900 a night on like stuff. How does Henderson compare to that?
Yeah, I mean, I have the biggest one in Henderson.
Really?
It's 9,000 square feet. Yep. It's a mansion. And
where's it at?
It's in Henderson, deep Henderson. It's in the southern part. So it's off like the 515 in College. So if you go down to 215 and go south, that's where it is.
Oh, I know where you're over by the Jesse Road area.
Yeah.
Yes. That's where I was going to build my house out there.
Yeah. So was I. I love it out there.
I love that area.
You do whatever you want out there. Nobody bothers you.
It's completely become populated out there, though. There was nothing out there.
Super popular now.
Okay, so you've got a 9,000 square foot Airbnb. You own this house?
Yes, I do.
Let's run through those numbers.
Sure. We bought it for 1.4, put about 250 into it.
Okay.
And this thing consistently brings in between 30 and 50,000 a month.
Wow. That's fantastic.
And here's the cool part. So when we finished it, I don't know if you're familiar with the UFC, but Dana White saw my house and asked us if we could film his reality TV shows in it. So it's been booked the past 6 months. We're with 2 reality TV shows. Conor McGregor has been in the house, and it'll be releasing in 2 weeks.
Real estate is so cool.
It's the best.
That's awesome.
I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Make sure you give us a 5-star review. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share this podcast with a friend. And make sure that you schedule a call with me and my team. We have the Millionaire Mentorship Program. This is for newbie and advanced investors to get started investing in real estate. And if you're listening to this podcast right now, that's exactly what you want, right? You want to learn how to invest in real estate. It's changed my life. It can change your life. And we have a program that'll help you get your first or next investment property within the next 90 days, or I'll pay you $1,000 cash and you don't pay. Guess what else we're launching? We're launching a fund. And if you're interested, I'll include a link in my bio to this fund where you can actually invest with me on a lot of the properties that we're in. In fact, I'm in one of my properties right now in downtown Kansas City, in a building that I bought using my own money, but I started with just one property, and you can do the exact same thing that I did, but you got to get started. You got to take action. So whether you want to invest with me in my fund or whether you want to schedule a call with my team, both those links are in the bio. Enjoy the show. Give us a 5-star review.
So Jason, you come out here from New York to be a kindergarten teacher.
Yeah.
And you're in love with lacrosse. How do you get, people are telling you should get into real estate? That's what's happening?
So I think the real light bulb was that my cousin Joe, like New York is so expensive.
Right.
And out at the time in 2014, 2013, it was so cheap. And my cousin was in my ear. He's like, you got to buy some property. It's really cheap. It's like a fourth of what it is in New York, where I'm from. And he was right. So we just started buying rental properties. He kind of forced me to buy my own house young. I think I was 23, 24. And then he's like, look, let's buy a rental property. Let's buy another one. And we just kept buying them. But I saw something unique because I was involved in the community with the lacrosse team. And there's only one public high school out here, and everyone wants to live in this one area. So I just stuck to buying rentals in that area and renting to lacrosse families because I knew that there was a high demand for this one area in Henderson. And I never stuck away from that strategy, and I kept buying and I kept buying, And then that kind of led me into the short-term rentals, and people always wanted to visit me. People always asked me, do you have a house for a weekend? Do you have for a week? And I didn't. And then that translated, do you have a bigger house? And then I bought the biggest one, and now I have everything here.
So how many short terms are you currently managing?
I have 8 of them.
That's amazing, dude. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's become such and that's since 2020, right? Like,
yeah, I went all in probably the past 2.5 years on it, and just really learned the game here, because there's a big demand for rentals here in town. Short term, I mean, Vegas exploded with the football. I know you have tickets, right? You come for the games.
Yes.
And it's a different type of city now. People are coming here at a rapid pace, and I'm going to take advantage of that.
Yeah, you know, something funny is I'm a big dreamer, and before I came to Las Vegas, I wrote down I'm going to build an NFL team in Vegas. This is prior to them, and everybody's like, there's never going to be an NFL team in Vegas, and I was like, it's the perfect spot. And then, obviously, somebody beat me to it, and I didn't pull it off, but it just goes to show you, there's always going to be a trailblazer with that sort of thing. And once, the Raiders got here, now it's like every sports franchise is coming to Vegas. One of the things about my tickets, and this is kind of something funny. So I got caught up in it. I'm a huge sports fan. I know you are. Yep. From being in lacrosse. When those tickets came out, I had FOMO, fear of missing out. I had, because you go in there, and first of all, one of my buddies I got to introduce you to, his name's Joe. He's Joe Yakubic. He's out of Henderson. He does a lot of stuff down in Watertown. He's got one of those hats that says "Make Water Street Great Again," right? And so he's a big player in Henderson. But he tells me, he's like, man, you got to get these tickets. At this point in time, I don't know anything. I know that I'm not on the list. I'm not getting tickets, and I better go get them. So when we get there, I have a towing business at the time, which was a terrible business to have, Jason. And so I'm thinking in my mind, if I can secure tickets on the 50-yard line, and I can sit next to guys who make decisions for Metro,
yep,
who gets that towing contract, and I've got their ear for 4 hours, I can probably build good relationships and possibly get some of that stuff. And that's how I rationalized it. Well, I never got any towing contracts. and I blew $160,000 on 40-yard line tickets. And so it's cool though. I made a friend at the game and he said, I was like, man, I don't want these tickets. As you know, I'm here in Kansas City most of the time now. And I'm like, so he actually offered to buy them from me and I get to go to 2 games per year, any game I want. And like, I got my capital back. And sometimes, as you know, that's a better thing. Cause I don't see that being a good investment long-term.
I'll tell you what, that was the easiest decision I've ever made buying season tickets. And it turned out to be a really good investment. I make really good money on my seats.
Yeah, I should have just bought the stuff that was. I bought 40-yard line is not getting you there. It's just
the club seats are different. Nobody has that kind of money.
Yeah, I should. If I had to go back, I would have bought level 100, but maybe 15, 20-yard line, 30-yard line. That's
where I have 4th row of the 100, and I think they're 160, and they go for $700-800 a ticket.
Yeah, that's what I should have bought. Who's your team?
I like the Cowboys. I'm a diehard Cowboy fan, and it's brutal.
Hey, listen, what about your kicker?
Dude, I'll tell you what, though. I got to meet Mahomes and Kelsey at a fight. They were awesome. They were really cool dudes.
So how do you like living in Las Vegas? Are you married? I see a ring on the finger.
Yep. I'm married. I just had my first son. I absolutely love it. I don't think I'll ever leave. The opportunity that's come here. I've moved like 12 people from New York here. Moved to like 12 people. So I got my whole family here.
Come on.
I got my brother here. I got my wife from back home. I got people coming and I got people here. So it's like I get the best of both worlds. But I just think this is like for the networking, the opportunity, the real estate is just getting going, in my opinion. And I don't think I'll ever leave. And I still say this, that I think this is the best rental market in the country. And people who disagree, I'll go toe to toe with them in an argument on it. But I've done very well.
Why is it the best in your mind?
I think it's the best for a few reasons. One, the taxes are so low.
Right.
Because where I'm from, people pay $30,000 to $40,000 a year in property taxes.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
2, and I'm not trying to be mean, but the people here aren't very educated. So they do not take care of their money. And they're always blowing it. And they're always in a situation of rent instead of buy. And there's just a big lack of demand. And so, and we don't have any of the political BS. We don't have the California BS, the New York BS. So there's none of that. And it's super easy to operate rental business here. I'm sure you know, and we'll agree.
Yeah, I think when I first got there, I would show up to court and like, it was like, done. And then I noticed as I've lived there longer, they would want to hear what the tenant had to say, and they would grant extension without nothing. And so I do agree that it's one of the better ones. I don't know. I think it's probably up there for sure. Like if I compare it to Kansas City, Missouri, it's easier to get somebody out. But again, they made that new change where you have to get a summary eviction. It's headed in a little bit more of it used to be absolutely the best, I think. And I think it's headed a little bit in the wrong direction with like, now you got to hire someone to do a process server. You didn't have to use to do that. They're being a little bit more lenient. The taxes are going up.
You know what's funny, Troy? I've never even come close to evicting someone. It's over 6 years doing it. Not even close. But I buy in the better areas. I'll say that. But
you also must vet them pretty well.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
I learned that the hard way.
And what's cool is that those tenants become my clients when they're ready to move. They like the experience, and then I get to represent them on the sale, and then put the new person in and just keep cycling it.
How long you been licensed?
8 years.
Okay, so you got your license, and now are you spending more of your time on investing or selling, or is it
always investing? I would say it's about 75-25. I'm addicted to the investing.
What do you like the most about it, Jason?
It's just the grind. And what I've become really good at, Troy, is making some good relationships with people. I've been now I did a class earlier on subject to investing, and people are bringing me deals, and I'm partnering with people that I never would have thought I would have ever partnered with. And I'm kind of taking this coaching role now into a kind of like being a mentor to younger people who are interested. And so I just like the grind of finding the deals. That's kind of what gets me going.
Subject to is actually one of my favorite deals too. And a lot of people, I stumbled into it chasing foreclosures. How did you end up becoming good at subject twos?
I had a situation where, it's funny, an agent 30 years in the business could not save a foreclosure from happening. And right. I knew how to do it. And I did a really big one. I made about $200,000 on one deal. Yeah. And the light bulb went off. I'm like, I have to focus on these. These are, you're helping people. Obviously you're going to do good on the deal. But I saved this guy, saved his credit, and he was able to get out of a bad situation. And that was like the stepping point for it.
Yeah. And people always think, when you're making money and you're helping people, they're like, oh yeah, well, you're helping people. But like, that is subject to when there's an imminent foreclosure, Jason, coming down the pipe. People don't understand that, like, if it goes to foreclosure and the minimum bid goes down, like, they're getting nothing. Number two, if it does go over bid, they may get just something, a little bit of something. But number three, like, a lot of times these people are just completely paralyzed and they don't have any like options, and and they're scared to answer their phone. They're scared to do anything. And if you can come in there and you do this little tap dance in 2 weeks and you get the bank to stop and you get all these payoffs and these third-party authorization letters, and you start doing these things and you deal with creditors' judgments and all that or other stuff, you can really help someone out. And like you said, they might remember like them losing the house, but it doesn't have to be the memory of on their credit with a foreclosure.
Correct.
And all that other stuff that makes them pretty much sometimes non-hireable, non-lendable.
I always say this. I've never done a subject to deal, and I've done a bunch of them where the person wasn't like, thank you so much for helping me. That's what it's about. And if investors don't understand that you're really helping these people, then you're just not getting it.
Yeah. And here's the funny thing is the people who you help are the ones you make the most money for. They're the most appreciative. Yeah. And that's the only reason that they're working with you, because they know that you're genuine. They're like, oh yeah, this guy is actually going to help me out. And the other ones, they see the other people salivating, and it's like, they're like, yeah, it's cool, man. We have the same background on that. I love those deals. So when you started mentoring people, talk to me about that. Are you mentoring people in Airbnb, or what are you mentoring them on?
It started with the Airbnb. So I figured out the Airbnb stuff here because there's a lot of rules, and then it became a hassle because everyone was calling me and saying, hey, I need you to teach me how to do this. I have questions. And I forgot who it was. They were like, you got to just build out a little course. So I built out a little course, and I'm like, look, if you're serious about this, it's a fee, pay the fee and watch the course. And when you're done, we could talk. But as you know, Troy, a lot of people, they never round the bases. And so I like working with people who round the bases and get around and like, okay, let's sit down and I will find you one and I will show you how this works. But short-term rentals are a lot of work. It's a business. You're buying a business. Each one is its own business, and it's not easy, and there's problems, and people are lazy. And so I kind of I want to work with people who are going to actually do it.
Yeah, man. So my wife is a super host, and we have like 31 midterm Airbnbs out here. And I don't know about you, but I mean, you like it. That's cool. She loves it. And the thing is, there's nothing that makes her happier than getting a review. Like she's like, did you see this one? And we have like, and this is not a 9,000 square foot house. This is an apartment home in Kansas City that we just turned into a midterm rental.
That's awesome.
It just started segueing that way. And she gets all these people who have stayed there are a lot of short-term nurses. They've stayed at other Airbnbs, and she gives them such great service. She's from New York, just like yourself, Jason. Yep. She gives them those New York kisses with all the nice little touches and everything like that. And she always asks for that review. And she's a super host over and over and over again. And I just think it's amazing. And
you know why she loves it? Because it's like you're building your own hotel. That's the best analogy that I could use. It's your hotel. It's Griggs Hotel. So if people come to Griggs Hotel and they don't have a good time, yeah, I'm going to get offended. If they have a good time, yeah, I'm going to be pumped about it. And so, yeah, you take pride in it. And that's what the business is. You're building your own business.
So let's go down that rabbit hole, because you got me. It's something that I've thought about for a while. So that is the big disruptor now. The Griggs Hotel is threatening the hotel lobby. And
yeah.
So like, if you were able to buy a really big one, like on the strip, right? Like on the strip, what would the Griggs Hotel have? Like, have you thought? I know you thought this.
Yeah. That's nobody's ever asked me this, but I have thought about it. I think my Airbnbs, like, I just went so like out of control with them. Like, when I send you a video of my big one, people walk in and they're like, "Holy shit!" They're like, "Holy shit!" And so yesterday, I've never done this before because the show was filming. I brought my entire lacrosse program to the house because it's good networking and it's good for them to promote it. And about 100 people there yesterday. Yeah. And every single person had the same, like, their eyes were like, "This is the craziest house I've ever seen." It's 9,000 square feet, basketball court, volleyball court, pool, basement. There's no basements in Vegas, so people are like blown away by that. The artwork, the location, there's no neighbors around. We have a sauna, we have pool, whatever you name it, we have in this freaking house. And so you don't have to leave. To answer your question about the hotels, I just think the hotels need to start cooperating a little bit because there's not enough hotels. Every hotel's sold out every weekend anyway. So I don't know why they're complaining. Like, we want people in the city. So these people, they rent my house and then they go to your casino and lose all their money. I don't understand there should be no issue with that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that 100%. I think that the biggest problem with the hotels and what is totally cool about Airbnb and like Turo, I'm a big fan of Turo, is like, you know what upsets people is the contact. When you go meet with some dude who's totally disgruntled and he's plugging in shit on his computer to get you a stupid room key that, like, we could like avoid all this. Like, give me my ID, let me upload this, and let me go and do like let's cut out some of the crap. So when I started thinking about this a long time ago, I was looking at hotels in Vegas before I could afford them. And this was during the crash, and I would go and drive and look at all these hotels that were getting like boarded up and stuff. And I was like, man, if you could just do everything on a kiosk, and now you're starting to see the kiosks happening. And so when I think about it, like in my dream world is like, there's a hotel like this in New Orleans called the Jung Hotel. It's owned by a big real estate developer named Joe Yeager out of New Orleans, Louisiana. He owns a ton of real estate, but he set up an Airbnb hotel. And so that's why I was asking you, I mean, if you continue to go this way, what sort of like amenities would you have in there? Like, where's the fun side of Jason go?
So I got to work for the Wynn Hotel while I was coaching. I was working at XS NightClub for about 2. I was doing that, but that was my night job. That was one of the best jobs I ever had. Here's why: the attention to detail that place gives is like no other hotel in the whole world, and everybody that works there is good looking. Yes. And so that it just creates a vibe. I love going to the Wynn because there's nothing like it. So I would definitely model everything after the Wynn. It's clean. It smells good. Everything's new, constantly new. Everybody's good looking. Everybody's having fun. And it doesn't matter. Like, you could go to the bar, have a drink, and you're sitting next to Mark Messier. You're sitting next to Justin Timberlake, and they're just like normal people. And that's like the norm in that hotel. Yeah. And that's the vibe they create. And that's, if I had to do it, that's what I would do.
I love that answer because I'm a big Encore Wynn fan. I love walking through that hotel, looking at that red carpet, smelling all the ambiance. I mean, just like, it's just sexy. It's a cool place. I think that's the right way to go. So I can see why you're successful at Airbnb is because you probably think about that when you're putting those things together. So with you being in real estate for a while now and you kind of becoming you said, are you a father right now?
Yep. Just became a dad about 1.5 years ago.
So where do you see your life? I'm see a lacrosse coach probably in the future here.
You know what? People ask me this a lot. So my parents were both teachers. So I never got any business education at all. Right. And I had to learn late. I'm excited to teach him that early. I really am. Money management, how to invest correctly,
Right.
how to get into real estate, right? Like smart buys, not smart buys. That's what I'm excited about because no one really taught. I had to learn a lot of that on my own. Like my first business, I built a lacrosse company. And I learned like how to do taxes and how to do the checking accounts and checks and all these things that they don't teach in school. That's what I'm probably most excited about.
That's awesome, man. It's I got twin 9-year-olds right now, and I can tell you that that whole sports thing and teaching them everything, it's really fun to say like, well, if I would, it's my time to do it my way, and then you just realize all of a sudden once you have kids that start getting a little bit older. I know you're young, but you realize you're getting old. You're like,
yep,
I'm getting old. Like,
yeah.
It just
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I had my fair share of fun here in Vegas, and it's caught up to me, man. I can't do it like I used to.
Yeah, nobody can. So if somebody's listening to you right now and they're like, man, I want to get into real estate. I want to do something. What advice would you give them?
I always say buy your first house. Do what I did. I bought my first house and I rented out the other rooms. Now I'm getting some income coming in off that, paying off my mortgage, and I'm just living, right? That's always my first advice. And I think a lot of people want to get into real estate. They don't know where to start. So my advice is go take the test. And so I have hundreds of people. Jason, I want to work with you. Jason, I want to get into real estate. I said, okay, go get your license. And then that shows me that you're freaking committed to do it. And if I would say out of 100 people, I've only had 2 do it.
Yeah. People are full of it.
Yep. So that's my start. That's my standard. If you could pass the test and you're serious about, and then everyone's like, well, I got a job. I had a job too. I had to sacrifice some job time to get the license. But if you want to make more money, this is the game.
What do you think your biggest win that you've had is since you've been in real estate?
Figuring out the rental game because I manage everything myself. I think I'm a really good people person. That's definitely my best skill right now.
Are you doing remote showings or do you guys still do them in person?
For rentals?
Yeah.
For long-term rentals, we'll put a keypad and we'll give it out. But I get a lot of referrals where I just trust the people. They're family friends or friends with people, and there's a big demand for these things because I make them nice, and there's a big shortage on rentals, so it works out. Yeah,
it seems like you're sticking in a pretty nice area.
Yeah, I'm not doing. I've tried it. I'll be honest with you. I've tried the crappy. I see your videos. I'm just not. I can't do it, man. I'll get in trouble.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. I'll just say you kind of stick with what you know.
Yeah,
and that's what I've always done, and so I kind of know it. And
it's funny you bring that up because I hate flipping. I just don't trust any contractors.
No, you shouldn't. Yeah.
And what's funny? I used your video recently where you said to the contractor, look, I'll give you your price if you get it done in this time, or we're going to go at my price. And it works.
That's it, man.
It works. Love that video. Great video.
Thank you for that. Jason, I'll tell you what, it's a constant battle. Flipping is, you got to have your thumb on someone, and it doesn't matter how good you are, how long you've been doing it. People are people, and you're always going to be cycling through new people.
Yep.
You're always going to be, people are always like, oh, you go with the cheapest price. It's like, no, I don't, man. Yeah. It's like, and the most expensive ain't that good anyways. It's just like you're dealing with a lot of the trades that are really good are going to the wind and getting jobs and sticking to the union, and they're working as slow as they want to work at it. The guys who really want to work generally are not even legal. And then there's half a dozen or 100 dozen people who are con men, who are just literally the job that they can get out of prison is a contractor. Yeah. And that's maybe where the word con came from, because I don't know. I mean,
I'll tell you what I did, Troy. So I have a big fear of contractors in general and flipping, but I have really good ideas. And so what I did with my 2 biggest ones was I partnered with somebody. His name's Tyler Hubbs, and he's incredible at contract work and organization and making sure his crew is organized. So I was like, okay, I see the vision. I can't do it, but this guy can. And so I was like, hey, let's do this together. And it worked out great. We built a monstrosity.
So you guys are flipping together.
I do not flip. I'll maybe do 1 or 2 a year. He strictly flips, and I convinced him. I said, look, we're going to build the biggest Airbnb. And he was like, I don't like rentals. I'm like, you're going to, once I show you this money that we're going to bring in. And he was hooked. And so we have a
So you guys built that house.
We put about $300K into it. We rebuilt it.
Oh, you rebuilt it. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't build it from scratch. No.
Yeah, I mean, construction is a whole nother animal. I think there's a lot of ego involved in it. I certainly know mine is. A lot of times when I take these projects, I'm like, yeah, let's just go ahead and do this job, even though it's probably not the best use of my time. I just want to show myself I can do it. So, there's some of that there. So, Jason, I guess just a couple more questions that I want to ask you. So, as your life evolves and stuff like that, I'm sure your goals are getting bigger and grander, and you're probably, it's kind of cool to hear that you were renting out your rooms. That's exactly how I started. And everybody's like, well, what did you do? I'm like, I just did that. And so knowing that you're a lot further than you probably planned when you came out to Vegas to be a kindergarten teacher, what is your next big goal?
That's a great question. One thing that I like to talk about is like, I kind of knew that I'd be successful, but how much easier life is when you have some money, right? And a lot of people don't like to talk about money, but having money, like there's just like so many more things you could do. You could go to the nicer restaurants. You don't have to look at the menu. You could go to the sports games. I have season tickets to every sports team here in town, and the freedom it allows. And my son's going to have that. And I'm going to take all this real estate one day and pass it down to him and teach him, like, this is the way. I don't have to work for anyone. I love that. I could wake up when I want. I could go to the gym when I want. I could go to those games when I want. And I love that. That's the best part about being an entrepreneur.
That's amazing, man. I'm so excited that you have that and that you're able to, and people should want that. If you're listening right now and you want that, give Jason a follow, subscribe, give this a 5-star review. How can they find you, Jason?
Instagram. I'm on Instagram all day. I love networking with people. I talk to a million people a day, all over the place.
What's your handle?
At J Griggs Real Estate.
At J Griggs Real Estate. And the reason you need to follow Jason and guys like him is he's positive. I can just tell by talking to him right now, and just by hearing your story and who you associate with, you can tell that you've got a good aura, that you've got a good personality, and that trust goes a long way with it. You just give out a good vibe. And there's so much to that in people and assessing losing money, making money by assessing the person. I could just tell from talking to you that I'd want to do business with you. And I think that's probably why you do a lot of business. Jason, one last question. If you could give somebody a piece of advice, one of the mistakes that you made early on in your career that you would say, God, man, I will never do that again, what would it be?
Well, I think one of the biggest mistakes I made, I didn't start real estate earlier. I wish I would have known about it. But I'm gonna kind of tailspin a little different direction, if you don't mind, because I go through this a lot. A lot of people try to get me to degrade college. And I went to college for 6 years.
Okay.
And I coached 18-year-old kids. And they see me and they say, Coach, I don't want to go to college because you don't need college to do real estate. But I wish I would have gone to college and studied business. That was one mistake I feel like I made. Because if I would have got 4 years in a business setting and networking with business type people, I feel like I could have came out ahead at 22 years old.
Yeah, that's interesting. We got very similar. So I went to college. I got a degree in communications, which I paid for, and that was the biggest waste of money I ever did. I just paid for it myself. I went. I told my kids, if you're going to go to college and you want your dad to pay for it, you got to get a law degree, and anything else doesn't matter. Now, I would venture that having like an MBA or something like that. I mean, it's really cool to see all these, we're doing great, we're doing fine, but then you're in Vegas and you see guys like Steve Wynn, guys like just these mega rich guys. And I got just a book recommendation that I think you'd really enjoy. It's called The Gambler, and it's actually about the guy who built Las Vegas. His name's Kirk Kerkorian. And, it's just amazing to see that you and I are having, what you're saying is like, you're learning the hard knocks way.
Yep.
And it'd be a lot easier if we had an MBA and we know, oh, this is the way. Like right now, one of my big plans is to take my company public. Like I truly want to do that. And I'm like sitting here online trying to figure out who's the best VC to take a REIT public, right? Who's the best guy? And this is stuff that like, if I went to business school, I probably wouldn't have to be doing.
Yeah. So, it's funny. I went through an experience recently. So we did the deal with Dana White, and I got to 14 years ago, I met Dana White, and I was trying to move to Vegas, and I was this young 19-year-old kid. And I was like, hey, Dana, I know you live in Vegas. I want to move to Vegas. What do you think? And he was like, dude, do it. It's the best city in the world. And I got to reconnect with him all these years later. We did this deal with them. And I remembered the story. I said, you told me to do this. And he's like, dude, this is so cool because I'm still right. This is the best city in the world to do business with. And there's nothing like it. I tell everyone to move here. If you could keep your head on the straight and narrow, you will kick ass. And he was right.
Yeah, he's doing great, man. He's in great shape right now.
Yeah, dude, that guy's killing it, man. He's a beast. I love him.
I love it when he rolls into the UFC with Trump. Dude, it's like the whole place is going 45.
Yeah, he don't care. I just like Dana because he's just no BS, man. He's like a New Yorker. Like he just doesn't care.
We're from Connecticut.
Cancel me this, cancel me that. I don't care. And he always comes out on top. I love people like that. Very motivating.
Well, Jason, man, it's been a pleasure having you on. If you guys enjoyed Jason's content, make sure you give him a follow. And if you guys enjoyed this podcast, make sure you give us a 5-star review. We will be bringing it to you weekly, daily, all over YouTube, all the socials, TikTok, Instagram. My favorite one is Instagram, just like Jason's. And we'll check you on the next one. Peace.
Have you ever wanted to start investing in real estate, but you just don't have the time? You don't have the ability to get started, but you got the capital, right? And you want all of the advantages that the capital offers you. Well, I started a fund, and you can invest with me and my team. In fact, I'm in one of the buildings that I bought using my own money, but you could invest and actually get the benefits of investing with me and my team. Well, you got to be an accredited investor. And you've got to go to our website. I'll include the link in our bio, and you could start investing with us. It's super cool. We're going to do a lot of cool projects in Kansas City and around the country, and you'll be able to be a part of it. Make sure you give this podcast a 5-star review, share it with a friend, and take action.